In my recent live stream video, the one where I showed you how to do the dashed flower design, I pulled a file up from within my ScanNCut machine that had various greetings, and I showed you how to write happy birthday. And somebody messaged me and asked me how did I get all those greetings. So this is one of my files that I've already got in ScanNCut Canvas, and I'm just going to add a few more greetings to it, and I'm going to show you how to do it using the font converter. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the font converter, and if you don't know what the font converter is, I'll put an information card on this video with a link as to how to find it and download it and install it on your computer. So I'm going to type in the box here, I'm just going to type with love, and I'm going to choose a font. Now all the fonts that are listed in here that you can see that I'm scrolling through are all the fonts that are installed on my computer, and the converter pulls them all up, which means I've got access to lots and lots of fonts. So I'm going to go and find a font that I like to use quite a lot. And it's called Grandma's Garden, and it shows me what it looks like there, and it will give me a preview. If I click on the word preview, that's how it's going to look. So I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to say save. Now it's given it a generic name, but I'm going to give it a name with love so I know what it is, and I'm going to put it on my desktop and click save, and it will appear on my desktop. You can't see it at the moment, but I can see it. Now I'm going to type another greeting. I'm going to type new home, and because I've got Grandma's Garden selected, it's bringing it up in that font, but I'm going to go and use another one which is called Europe Underground. And all these fonts that I've got on my computer are either fonts that are pre-installed on my Mac, or the fonts that I've got from a website called dafont.com, which I have referred to in previous videos. It's the main site that I trust, where I get most of my fonts from. So I'm going to use this Europe Underground. I'm going to select that. Again, it'll show me what it looks like. I can click preview. I like this because it's like a single stroke font, so it writes beautifully with the ScanNCut. So I'm going to choose close because I'm happy with that, and I'm going to choose save, and again I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it new home on my desktop and save. And then I'll just do a couple more. So I'll go back to the font converter and I'll type baby girl, and then I'll leave a couple of spaces and I'll type baby boy. And again, I'm going to go back to that Europe Underground because it is one of my favourite fonts for writing with the ScanNCut. And again, I'm going to preview, and it's showing me, and I'm going to say close and save. I'm just going to call this one baby and put it on my desktop and save. So now I've got 3 separate cutting files on my desktop. So this is a file, as I say, that I've already saved with greetings in. I'm going to come to the SVG icon, navigate to my first file, and I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to find the first file I made, which was with love, and I'm going to choose it, and I'm going to say OK, and it's going to bring it in the top left hand corner of the mat, and that's why I've dragged these down here. So these are all separate letters if you click on them. So the first thing I'm going to do is drag an imaginary box around everything and right click and group. So that's my first word saved. Then I'm going to come back to the SVG icon, navigate back to my desktop and find the new home and choose and say OK, and do exactly the same. Select everything, right click and group, and move that one out of the way. Then I'm going to come back to the SVG icon and navigate to the file I called baby and say OK. Now because these are all individual letters, I can make each one of these a group of its own. So I'm going to drag an imaginary box around the baby girl, right click and group, and move that one out of the way. And then I'm going to select the baby boy, right click and group. So I've now got a mat with all different greetings made in different fonts that I can choose to make bigger or smaller as I wish and write with my ScanNCut. So I've already called this file various greetings, but I've added these other ones into it. So I'm going to resave it and say OK, and then I'm going to download it. Now I've got the it's just telling me that some elements are going to be removed because they're too small, but that's okay, it's fine. It probably won't remove anything. It might be a dot over an I or something like that if it does, but from using this converter it tends to be okay. So I've got the Wi-Fi model, so I'm going to use the transfer, but if you've got the USB model, then just use the download and it'll either drop into your downloads folder, or you can do the right click and choose download link file as, and then put it on a USB stick. But for now I'm going to use the Wi-Fi transfer, and it's going to say it's done it, and I'm going to close. And then when I open up the ScanNCut machine, this file with all these separate greetings will be waiting for me to save onto my machine. Okay, so I'm at the machine. All as I've done is put a piece of scrap card on this mat, and I've switched the machine on. So that if you've put your design onto a USB stick, obviously put your USB stick into your machine, and then this is what you would do. So I'm going to go to pattern. You would go to saved data and find your cutting file with your greetings on. I'm going to the Wi-Fi transfer. So I'm going to click on that, and it should bring up that cutting file, or that file with all those greetings on. So you can see here, hopefully. If I angle the screen up slightly for you, you can see, because you're getting some glare. But so basically, I've got this file on here now with all those greetings. Now, if I wanted to write all those greetings, I'd just load the mat up and let the machine go. But if I only want to write, say, baby boy, which is this one at the top here, and I'm not sure how well you're seeing it. Let me try and angle. I'll hold it this way for a minute. So I've got all these different greetings: new home, baby girl, with love, good luck, everything that's on here, and baby boy up here. So if I just want to use baby boy on a project, I'm going to go to, first of all, I'm going to save the whole thing into the machine. You don't have to do this, but just for now, and it's saved it as number 31. So I'm going to go into the editing icon in the top left hand corner that has the square, the triangle and the circle. I'm going to click on the red boxes, and I'm going to choose the first option, which is by selection, rather than the second box is, if I select that, it will select everything on the screen, and I don't want that. So I'm going to use this one, by selection. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on one of the words that I don't want, and that's telling the machine that I'm going to be doing something in a minute, giving it an instruction. I'm going to select this box, and I'm going to drag up the handles to select everything except the word I want to keep, which is up here, which you can't see. And I'm going to say OK. And it's selected all of these down here. So I'm going to say OK and delete. And then I've just got a couple of stray ones that I could do the same with again if I want to. Say OK. It's not picking them up, so I'm just going to do them. Let me just drag it down. There you go, it's selected just those two. I'm going to say OK and put them in the bin. And then I've just got the baby boy word. So I'm just going to, just for now, I'm going to use the old pen tool just because it was the first one I picked up. So I'm going to take the blade out, and I've just got the red pen in here, and I've got the lid in the cap, or the cap in the lid. Put the pen in, lock it in place, say OK, put this mat in the machine, move you around ever so slightly, and I'm just going to position this word just in the top left hand corner for now, because I don't want to write it right in the middle of the card. I'm going to say OK, draw and go. Okay, and that's done it. And just for the video, obviously, I left it at the size it came in at. But I can go back, I can say OK, I can go back, I can move the word, I'll just move it down a bit. I can go into the editing icon and I can make it smaller. So I'm going to take it down to about an inch and a quarter wide. Or thereabouts. It's actually a bit smaller than an inch and a quarter. I'm going to say OK, OK, and draw again and go. And then it's drawn it a lot smaller, which I'll show you in close-up in a minute, and I'm going to say OK to finish cutting. Now, you can actually make a file for every single individual word, but it's easier, I think, to just put a whole lot of greetings in one file and then just delete the ones you don't want to use at the time you come in to use your pen tool. So if I go back to home now and say OK to delete all patterns, it's not deleted all those patterns, it's just deleted them from this particular session, if you like. So if I go back to pattern and save data, because I saved this file, if you remember, into the machine once it had come through from on the Wi-Fi transfer. So if I go to the machine and go to the last page, there's that file number 31. And if I say OK, all the greetings are still there. So each time I want to write a greeting on a card, so long as I obviously want to use the fonts that I've used on here, then I can just pull this file up every time and choose the greeting. If I want, say, happy birthday, but I don't want it in the font I've got here, then obviously I'll have to make it in the font converter again in a different font. And actually what I have done, I have got another cutting file. I don't think I've got it on here. I'll just have a look. No, I've actually got another file that literally is just full of the words happy birthday in different fonts. And then again, depending on the project I'm using, I'll bring the happy birthday file up and I'll look at the fonts and think, oh, that particular style font suits this project better, or that one does. And I'll do the same. I'll delete all the ones I don't want and resize and write with the one that I do want. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so. Put the bell notification icon on so that you will get notified when I upload or when I'm going live with a live stream. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.